Good morning and welcome to another Singing on Saturday. This being the first weekend of October, and October being the month of the Reformation, way back in 1517, so 503 years ago, right? I thought we would take a little bit of a trip down history's lane. I would say memory's lane, but I don't know how many of us remember some of these. So we're going to look at different hymnals, and today we're going to take a look at the 1930 hymnal, the American Lutheran hymnal. It's the black hymnal. We in Lutherland refer to our hymnals as colors because there were a number of American Lutheran hymnals, and then we had the LBW, the Lutheran Book of Worship, and now we have the cranberry, not red. Red was the last American Lutheran hymnal. But we have the Evangelical Lutheran Worship, or the ELW, and of course there was the WOV, the WAV, the with one voice. And now there's Let All Creation Sing, so LAX, the new hymnal coming out. So color is usually just the easiest. So we're going to look at this one, the American Lutheran hymnal. This was started in 1921 in Chicago on May 3rd. And then in 1928, the hymnal committee was formed and worked on this hymnal. It's a combination of, of 8 synods, of the Evangelical Lutheran Synod of Iowa and other states. So at that time, we were still known as, we had the Wisconsin Synod, the Missouri Synod, the Iowa Synod, the Ohio Synod. There was a Norwegian Synod, and I forget what else. And that was the time where we started to come together and form larger individual groups. So this hymnal is a culmination of that. So we're going to sing some of the songs through this. The first one is, "This is the day our Father hath given," H-A-T-H, hath given. There's some words that we don't use in here anymore, one of which is Whitsun, W-H-I-T-S-U-N. Whitsun is another name for Pentecost. So it talks about Easter and Whitsun from Christmas grew. So out of Christmas comes Easter and Pentecost. And this is, it doesn't give me a year. This is the day our Father hath given.
The day that our Father hath given, greatly his people rejoices. Open today are the portals of heaven. Lift now in gladness your voices, for on this day of rejoicing, Jesus ascended with glorious might, sent us his Spirit with grace and light. Gladly his praise we are voicing. Grant us, O Master, thy wisdom and grace. Enter this Sunday our dwelling. Millions unnumbered from every race, happy thy praises are swelling. We too would praise thee with gladness. Freely thy Spirit attends our need, blessing thy people in word and deed, bringing rejoicing for sadness. Lend us, O Savior, thine high altar's fire, as in thy house we assemble. With thine own presence our spirits inspire, till we in ecstasy tremble. Ever our joy be increasing, and Whitsun from Christmas grew. Thus shall each Sunday our joy anew spring from thy mercy unceasing. Quicken and strengthen thy people today. Bless them, O Lord, at thine altar. Speak to us, counsel us, Savior, we pray. Sanction thy gospel and psalter. Yea, we may know by thy Spirit we are thy people to grace restored. Full of compassion art thou, O Lord. We shall thy glory inherit.
What a fun little hymn that was, wasn't it? This is the day our Father hath given. So this hymnal, being from 1930, means that this church that you see would have been just about 20, Cornerstone was laid in 1903, but the church was founded in the late 1800s. So this building itself was fairly young. This space is still in its first 2 decades of existence, this space here. The church, like I said, had been around since the late 1800s, 1883-ish. So we had been around for about 40 years, about almost 50 years by that point. And so this is a fairly new, would have been fairly new to this church at that time, way back in 1930. The north side of Appleton, Zion, I believe, was the first congregation this far north. St. Therese, our partner here on the north side, would have just been founded. That cornerstone was laid in 1929, I believe, and they were formed just shortly before that, after Zion built this space. So the north side at that time of Appleton in 1930 was just blossoming and becoming something larger. And Columbus School across the street was part of that as well. I believe Columbus is slightly older than Zion. So this area in 1930 was just starting to grow, and here we have a German Lutheran church here in Appleton. So now we're going to move on. This one is a hymn of invitation. It is, delay not, O sinner, draw near. This is a tune by Franz Joseph Haydn, a German composer. We'll also have another one in just a moment. We'll sing the next one by him as well. But this is one we know, O servants of God, your master proclaim. It's a hymn tune we know, but words that we don't know. So this is, delay not, O sinner, draw near.
Delay not, O sinner, draw near. The waters of life are now flowing for thee. No price is demanded, the Savior is here. Redemption is purchased, salvation is free. Delay not, the Spirit of grace, long grieved and resisted, may take his sad flight, and leave thee in darkness to finish thy race, to sink in the veil of eternity's night. Delay not, why longer abuse the love and compassion of Jesus thy God? A fountain is opened, how canst thou refuse to wash and be cleansed in his pardoning blood?
interesting text, something that we're not used to. In the Lutheran tradition especially, we would have services of confession, usually the night before, or I think sometimes the week before communion service, because communion for a long time was only given at certain times, because in the American Lutheran Church, not the synod itself, but as a country, the American Lutheran Church, we had churches that were spread far out, but there weren't enough ministers to be able to minister to all of the congregations on a weekly basis like we have now. And so they would do circuits and stay at a church either for a day or for a period of time. And so that meant that if you didn't have a minister, you didn't have communion. So for a long time, you would only have communion once a quarter or twice a year, or maybe only on Christmas if you were lucky enough to have an ordained minister at that church. So we got into this habit of only having communion at certain times. And so we would have a service of confession and forgiveness the night before, at which you would receive a certificate or a token saying that you had gone to confession, and then that got you communion the next day at the communion service. So again, I don't know specifics behind all of this, but I suspect this would have been one of those hymns sung at one of those services for confession and forgiveness before you were able to receive communion. Here we have a harvest song by the same composer, by Haydn. This is from his great musical oratorio, The Creation. This is called Lord of the Harvest, Thee We Hail, with the tune of Creation by Haydn. This, like the other one, goes particularly high. Anybody else vocally tired yet? Because I'm getting there. These hymns are high hymns. They have a wide range for the singer. But that wasn't uncommon in those early years of the turn of the century in the 1800s. The style was a lot still church at home. You still prayed at home almost every day. You sang a lot at home, gathered around the piano and sang hymns. And they sang in four-part harmony. It wasn't uncommon at that time for families to gather and to sing these great hymns. And as we've lost that touch, lost that side of our faith, that being at home, doing things together as a family, learning together, studying the Bible, praying the prayers of your faith, whether it be the Lutheran prayers, the prayers of Luther, the prayers of Wesley if you were Methodist, the Presbyterian prayers, so the prayers of Calvin, the Rosary if you were Catholic, spending that time at home in your faiths, your education, learning from your parents at home, sort of rings true for now, doesn't it? Doing those things at home, and because they sang so much at home, sang so much as a family, they had developed wide ranges, and they could come to church and they could sing these hymns that have wide ranges to them. So here we have another hymn. I chose this one because of what Pastor Catherine is doing on Sunday mornings. This is "The Spirit's Fruits Are Peace and Love." It's a bit wrong, as if you listen to Pastor Catherine's sermons, you know that in the Bible it's not translated as fruits, plural, but fruit, one fruit. But we're going to do this because it fits Pastor Catherine's sermon series that end this month on the fruit of the Spirit. So here we have this hymn written by another famous composer, Rossini, who wrote more, wasn't really a church writer per se. He wrote operas and big choral works. But this is an arranged piece of Rossini's, and it's a text from 1880. The Spirit's fruits are peace and love. Again, another high range for the vocalist.
The Spirit's fruits are peace and love and purity from heaven above, grace, meekness, gentleness, and joy, with goodness newborn lives employ. The Spirit makes life's pathway plain, imparts the grace that will sustain, and grace its work in those will show who truly to the Spirit sow. They that are Christ have crucified their flesh with all its lust and pride, and seek in truth what they profess, and walk the paths of holiness. Lord, fill with grace our wayward heart, nor let amongst thy Spirit part. O save us from still hidden sin, and make our nature pure within. That watchful, prayerful, sober, strong, we grow the more as strives prolong, and of the Spirit reap at last eternal life when strife is past.
Whew. What an interesting hymn that is, isn't it? So this last one, again, a tune that we will all know. We still sing it just not at this time of year. Well, maybe if you live in my household or my extended family's household, or people that like the season that's coming up. This is a tune, the tune name of Mendelssohn. I'll let you ponder that for a moment and see if you know what that tune is. If you have a hymnal, you can start looking, and it's at the beginning of the ELW, if you have that, or the LBW. I think it's also there. This is Hark the Song of Jubilee, another tune, another tip for you there. So this is by Felix Mendelssohn, with words by John Montgomery. This is, to the tune, like I said, of Mendelssohn. We would know it as Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I chose it because it's different. In some of these hymnals, we have what we would associate with just pure Christmas hymns. Those hymns have been reset for use in general time. One of them being How Firm a Foundation. Right now we have it, How firm a foundation, you saints of the Lord. It was set to Adeste Fideles, which if you know tune names, that is O Come All You Faithful. So that was How firm a foundation, you saints of the Lord is laid. And it goes on and on and on. So I find it particularly interesting when we have hymns that are set to what we think of should be as Christmas hymns and sung only at Christmas time, unless you are like my household and we can listen to them all year round. We, meaning me, we can listen to them all year round. But here we have it sung. This is a hymn of the Redeemer, so it would have been sung at any time appropriate. So we're going to end today with Hark the Song of Jubilee. Boy, I am glad we are done with that. Some high things. This is 2 steps higher than we normally sing it at Christmas time. And the tune is a bit different. It caught me off guard there. I should make a mental note next time that I should pre-play some of these. Some of them I did this morning, but I thought, well, I know this tune. I don't need to play it. Well, guess what? Apparently I did. So thank you again for joining me this morning for another great singing on Saturday and this month of October as we take a look down history's lane and we go through some of our old hymnals. Ultimately, surprisingly, excitingly, we get to culminize with Reformation Saturday. Reformation falls on Saturday this year, and so on Saturday, the 31st of October, we will be looking at some of Martin Luther's hymns. Maybe we'll do all of the verses of some of his hymns. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But we're going to take a look at some of these great hymns of past Lutheran hymnals, maybe some hymns of the Reformation early on. But I hope that you enjoyed it today. I hope that you continue to count your blessings and to give thanks to God for everything that has come into your life, whether it be a big, wide open, wonderful blessing or just a small, minute blessing. This week was just a fabulous blessing for me on many fronts. And so thank you all for being my blessing, my biggest blessing in life, aside from my family, my children and my wife and my parents and siblings and grandparents and everybody else. But thank you for being part of my blessing each week and being a part of the gift of music. And thank you for coming into this space, this historic space here at 912 North Oneida Street, where we get to worship together. Even if it's online, we get to worship together in our great, glorious space. So have a wonderful week, everybody, and we'll see you next week as we continue our journey and look at some different hymns from a different era. So have a wonderful week, and God bless you. Bye-bye.